let me do one thing first. We're doing this Zoom, and we're going to do after the game tomorrow Zoom. The kids get to go home for Christmas. We're trying to mitigate what we can. They've all gotten booster shots. So, and it's just knowing that it's about being a great teammate. Like, there were many of them that didn't want to do it, but they did it for each other. And they did it for their families at home. So we're just going to try to mitigate. Maybe we're going to do this for the next week or two, this week and maybe the following when we get back, unless stuff starts lightening up, and then we'll be fine. And you know how I'd rather be in your company than doing this way.
All right, guys, we'll open up for questions. Daryl Bird, you got the first one.
Yeah, Cal, you were talking the other day about wanting to be at 75, 80 points a game. When you're going against opponents who want to keep it in the 50s, obviously it seems easier to slow the pace. How does the team that wants to get into the 80s, how do they force that issue even though the other team doesn't want to do it?
Well, when I say 75 or 80, it's an efficiency thing. If they're playing a game that makes the game instead of 40 minutes, 32 minutes, all right, let's go 75 and say it's 75% of 75 or 80% of 75. If they're going to shorten the game, I get that. But it's just that if you're a team that's scoring in the 60s, you're going to face somebody who can get 70, even when you play great defense, even when you shorten the game. It's just hard. Now, there are going to be games, we've already had one, where you score 65 points. Well, why did that happen, Daryl?
Not a lot of passing.
How about we went 2 for 19 from the three-point line? You go 2 for 25 from the, stuff like that happens. We'd like to take, even with this team, 20 to 22. Sometimes we take a little less because we have driving opportunities, which we'll take. Sometimes you're playing and taking a little bit more. But, we want to be able to play whether we're making threes or not. The problem is if you're not making threes, you better be defending to keep them in the same area as you are.
Jerry, we'll go to you, and then John Long after that.
John, I wonder, this is the second straight game with a substitute opponent. I'm wondering, with COVID and games being called off and postponed, how confident are you about returning to quote-unquote normal anytime soon?
I don't know what you mean by normal, but here's what I would say. I'm worried, just like I was last year, of mitigating and having every opportunity for our team to play basketball games. I have enough friends that if we have games canceled, that we could fill them in with other games and against good opponents. This was such a quick turn. We did start calling teams Saturday night. So we did, after the game, start calling teams. But you just didn't have the time to, get something together. But, there are a lot of teams that want to play us. They want to say, all right, we'll come to you, but next year you got to come to us. And it becomes a home and home. There's a lot of teams. So I think, if we do this right, and I think there's got to be some, if you have 8 scholarship players and a coach, you must play the game. I mean, there's got to be that. It's not going to be perfect. But, I like the fact that we've had our vaccines, 100%. We've had the booster. And what it means to me is that if someone gets it, it's not gonna, I've got people's children under my care. And that's my first thing I worry about. And I did it last year. Last year was about as much mental health to make sure that, we didn't have any issues there either.
John Long, we'll go to you, then John Hale.
John, other than the tornado relief aspects of this game, which I think we all agree is a huge aspect, it seemed to me you had a lot to lose and not a whole lot to gain by scheduling Western. Do you feel that way? And what went through your mind as you went through that process?
Well, the two things that happened, I first of all said, we got to have, this building sold out. We have to try to get the best team we can get. We can make it about West Kentucky with another, big-time opponent. But as you went through the list, there were none that were willing. And then it became, well, to what level do we do all this? And is there a chance we say we're going to postpone the game and not play anybody? Well, that kind of went out the window right away if we could get a good opponent. And now with Western, the history of their program in our state, the respect they get within our state and even nationally, people still remember Western Kentucky and Coach Diddle and the red towel and all the stuff. I mean, you talk about a top program. And what they're doing now is they got a good team. I mean, they beat Mississippi good. They beat Louisville good. Louisville made some threes to make it close. I mean, this is a team, the leading shot blockers, shooters, they're well coached. Rick does a great job, always has. And you're right. This is a dangerous, I don't want to call it a no-win because it's a win. Playing the game is a win. We're playing basketball. And the other thing that's a win, let's really bring light and honor to West Kentucky and do it in a way where the country's watching. So I don't, someone's got to lose the game unless we can go tie. I'd take a tie. But it's still going to be something special. And I think whoever's in the arena, those people are going to say, wow, this was special. I'm so happy I'm here. And maybe this worked out for the best.
John Hale, go ahead, then Kyle Tucker.
Cal, do you have any hope that Louisville game gets rescheduled at some point this year?
Well, if there's cancellations and there's an opportunity, obviously we'd play it. So, but we just don't know where this is all going.
If that game's not played, do you have a feel yet for where it should be played next year?
Yeah, it should be played here. I mean, didn't we do that in football?
Yes.
So I imagine we could do it in basketball.
Kyle, go ahead.
Now, just about scheduling more in the big picture going forward, the scramble of all this seems to have obviously opened up some conversations with a lot of high-level programs. Gonzaga, Ohio State, Texas were kind of floated out there, others, Wisconsin maybe. Has this process of what happened yesterday and in the couple days leading up to now, made you think about some possibilities going forward for just the regularly scheduled home schedule, bringing an opponent like that to Rupp and also maybe returning? It seemed like that was on the table.
Well, that's look, when I called the people I called, I had to make that available. And I also told them, you understand we don't take this program just to any place on the road. We don't do that. And I'm willing to come to you next year if you'll come to us this year. Now, what else? What was the other fly in the ointment?
TV,
What?
television.
Nah, not really.
Beating North Carolina by 30.
Yes, that was the fly in the ointment. And now I told the guys, you screwed this up. They go, what? You screwed this up. You beat them so good, no one will play us now. They think that's who we are. I sent them tape of Notre Dame. They didn't want to see it.
All right, Darryl, we'll go to you and then back to you, Jerry.
Yeah, John, on your team, I noticed you guys ranked third in the SEC in free throw percentage, but you're next to last in attempts. Is that an issue that has to be improved?
Well, I'm going to tell you, there's two pieces to that. Yes, we do. As you know, we want to make more than the other team shoots. That isn't the case this year. But we're shooting one of the highest percentages of any of my teams. All right, so we've added a shot that I'd never had added before, that floater. And I got every player, including our big guys, shooting it for us, but more for them because it's where the game is going. And so that leads you to stop short of the body contact, which means you're not going to make as many or shoot as many fouls. You're giving up something and gain. The other reason, I'm trying to think, like, do I really mind it? Like, things happen and you have to think them through. If there's not free throws or a lot of them, what happens with that, Daryl? What's the game look like?
It's a lot faster. It's a lot
Woo! It doesn't stop. Some of you had no idea what I was talking about, but that's okay. The game doesn't stop, and it keeps going. And so that ain't no bad. So we'll just have to gauge it. I'd like to get more free throws, but I like the high percentage we're shooting.
Jerry and then John Clay.
John, on the radio show, you mentioned the 7'5" guy that Western has. How?
He's 7'5" too, Jerry. He's not. We'll say he's 7'5". No, he's 7'5", leading the nation in block shots.
So what sort of a presence does he have on the court? What sort of? I guess you don't want to give away what kind of alterations that might mean, but how impactful could he be?
No, let me tell you, the games I watched, he's like Casper. He's like the ghost that's in there when you start driving. He's in there. And, they have a terrific team. This is going to be a hard game for us to win. I don't care that we're at home. They got a 7'5" guy, and they got two guys that can really shoot the ball, and they got their leading scorer who's an attack dog. And so when you watch them, you're like, wow, they run good stuff. And let me say this. The guy that stirs the drink is their point guard. He might be the most effective player and in controlling the game and scoring baskets. I mean, I've gotten now to watch tape. And again, if you want to know about Ohio State, you ask me. I got all that I need to know. How about Louisville? Oh, yeah, I watched about 5 tapes of theirs. I can tell you about Louisville. I'm just now catching up with Western. But when I'm watching it, I'm like, we're just going to have to play well. You can't come into this game and not play well, or you'll lose.
John Clay, go ahead.
John, Kellen Grady's game on Saturday. You feel like he was more aggressive or was just getting shots from the floor of the game? How did you think he played?
We've been working really hard on all these guards of not catching the ball, dropping it, and then trying to shoot it. That's high school. We've been working on catch. Wherever you catch it, you shoot it from there. If I catch it here, I shoot it from there. I catch it here, it goes from there, I shoot it. So if you watch the tape of his shots, he got them off, which means they're clean shots. Now, you have to practice that way. And we had a couple guys practicing all of our shooting drills like they were playing horse. So now they can't get them off. Now, Kellan, I took him out in one part of that game because he passed up on 2 shots. You're out. You're not playing. Sit down. I need somebody that will get shots up and do it in a confident way. If you're not confident, you sit. Now, so what it says is, why'd he take you out? And you got to respond, because I didn't shoot it. What are you talking about? He took you out. He doesn't take that. He takes you out, not that. No, he took me out because I passed on 2 shots. That's why you got subbed. Why wouldn't you shoot the ball? It's not as easy as you think. And so I'm trying to make it so I don't want to hear I come out every time I make a mistake. That's not true. You say it. It's a great line. Man, every time you make. And that's again, around, that's what they'll say. But I had a guy sitting next to me in Vegas that said, do you know how many times you yelled at guys to shoot the ball today? 100. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And they know if they don't, and they walk or charge or step out of bounds in the corner, they're coming out. And then, mistake, you're not shooting the ball. There's a reason you're open. Shoot the ball.
Guys, we got time for one or maybe two more, so we get the players in here. John, I don't think you've had a second question, so we'll go to you.
Now, when you watched that North Carolina game back, for those of us who don't understand basketball, how much was North Carolina trying to do the same things Notre Dame did against Xavier, and he countered them, or were they playing him differently than?
The biggest thing that happened in the game is we passed the ball, and no one was catching it and holding it. So the ball moved, which meant the court was open for him to do what he does. That was the difference. Against Notre Dame, everybody was going to make the play because they got the phone calls and you got to do it. And now all of a sudden you caught it, and I call it you ripped to your hip because I have to make the play. Versus catch it, swing it, swing it. He attacks to me, to him. I got 3-4 calls on how we passed the ball to each other. Now, part of that is we spent 3 days really driving it. And, again, if you're a guy that keeps holding the ball, you can't be in. You can't be in. Move that ball. Again, guys are getting better. I think they did some of the same stuff, or at least had planned on it, including what they did in their press attack. So you knew they watched the tape. But the other thing that happened, we made a couple shots. Like, you don't have to make them all.
Don't miss them all.
Yeah, all of them. You can't miss them all. And now all of a sudden it becomes contagious. You make one, the next guy, all of a sudden there's a gap. You're up 16 versus the whole game is 4 or 5 points because every time you're wide open, you're missing badly. And so that was a big piece of it. By us making shots, what did it do to their defense? They got to go out here now. Well, if you don't make shots, they're saying let him shoot. If he shoots, he plays for us. You want that on the scouting report if you're a player? So I'm proud of these guys, how they came back, because they imposed their will, and that's what we've done here. They had a swagger. That's who we are here. But now you have to verify it by doing it again. That's how you verify. I like the bounce back from Notre Dame. I like what I saw. I like this team. I thought they would trap Oscar, and they really didn't. So that showed respect of other guys. It'll be interesting to see what Western does. Part of the thing is, great game for us because we're going against the zone. And you guys know that I say, I don't mind playing zone because it makes you do what? Pass the ball. It makes you pass the ball. I didn't have to yell pass. So what are you going to hold it, let him zone? Hold it, let him set. Hold it, let him set. That ball got to move and bounce and in and skip and over. Drive, find somebody. I love it. So we're going to play zone. They play 2-3. They play some 1-3-1. Try to keep the big kid near the basket. Smart move. But again, for us, it's what we need to face right now.
Kellen, hi. I'm wondering how, with games being canceled and substitute opponents, how unsettling is all of that? You know, it's so different from the normal.
You know, I think it's part of, you know, what could potentially happen this season. You know, you're seeing it all over professional sports, and you know, with the holiday season coming up, I think some of us had an expectation that there was a chance that this could happen to us. But nonetheless, we we've got a worthy opponent and a very good team we're about to play tomorrow. So we're just grateful we're able to replace that game and still have a game to play before we go home.
John Clay will go to you, and then Kyle Tucker.
Kellen, you had 18 points in North Carolina, 5 of 7, I think, from 3. What was the difference in that game, or are you just feeling more comfortable in your role with this team?
Definitely a little more comfortable. I think, we changed up our play style a little bit, got to more dribble drive motion. The ball popped around more. It seemed like more guys were, involved in every play, and that led to good looks for me. And it's my job on this team to take advantage of those and make shots. So,
Kyle Tucker, go ahead.
Cal noted when he first got on that everybody on the team went ahead and got boosters, that not everybody necessarily wanted to get them, but that guys did it for each other and also for their families. I just wondered if you could speak to that a little bit and what some of the thought process was on the team and just how that all kind of unfolded.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking out for each other at the end of the day, for our health, our safety, and those that we can come into contact with. And as I mentioned before, there's, it's been evident that COVID is rising again, with different variants and whatnot. So, I think it was the best move for us to, to get that booster and to, do our best to mitigate, the spread of the virus.
John Wong will go to you.
Hey, Kellen, you went from 0 rebounds to 6 rebounds. What was the difference, and where do you see your role in terms of crashing the glass?
There was obviously a bit of an effort to try to get in there and stick my nose in. Part of it was balls came to me. The last couple of games, the guy I've been guarding hasn't been crashing the glass as much. I thought that was something that became relatively consistent with our opponents before. A lot of the starting 3 guys were crashing, so I'd, box my guy out, and the rest of our team is plenty capable of getting the rebounds. With the last couple of games, it's been easier for me to just go in there and put myself in good position.
Jerry, back to you.
Kellen, as you know, Louisville is not just another game, a big rival kind of situation. Ty mentioned that last week. What kind of a challenge was it to kind of reorient, you know what I mean, to Western's a quality program, but they're not Louisville?
I think the hype around the game, changed a bit. Just, Kentucky Louisville's like a Duke Carolina or Celtics Lakers type of rivalry. But ultimately we're here to play games, and we look forward to playing good opponents. And I mean, Western just beat Louisville this past weekend. So we're not taking this game for granted, or we'll be just as ready to play against Western as we would have been to play Louisville. And we're excited for the challenge. They're gonna mix up defenses, play some zone. They've got the tallest guy in the country. It will be a test for us, and I'd like to see how we do.
Hey, Kellen, if I can ask a follow-up, the guy you mentioned, 7'5", how how does that play on your mind to be going up against a guy that tall and leading the nation in blocks?
Obviously it's not something you're accustomed to, in most opponents, but we'll probably try to bring him away from the basket, get into his legs, make him move a bit. If we play into his hands, then he'll have an advantage, but I'm sure we'll have a good game plan, a good way to try to exploit that.
John Wong, back to you.
Kellen, we just got the lecture from Coach Cal about the difference between a ball mover and a ball stopper. This improved passing that we saw in the North Carolina game, how important is that to your game and being able to get your game off the snide?
I think it's imperative for our whole team. You know, the more the ball moves around the perimeter, the more we can get to a second and third drive. You know, the better shots we're gonna end up getting. You know, it keeps guys engaged, keeps all five guys in the court involved. And you know, as you saw from our performance Saturday, we played the best that way. So it's something we're gonna look to continue to do.
Last call for questions for Kellen. All right, questions, Lance. There you go, Jared, go ahead.
Lance, I asked Kellen this question, but you guys are going up against a 7'5" guy tomorrow night. You may be matched up directly with him. How does that play on your mind?
We know with a guy that's 7'5", you probably have to get into his body, so they could try to take away his shot blocking ability. I feel like that me and Oscar, if we can, you know, put a body on him and be able to, you know, create contact, we might have an easier, you know, a better job. But if we like have him roam free, you know, that's when he's at his best and being able to block shots and stuff like that.
Thanks.
Go to John Hale and then John Clay.
Lance, obviously the Louisville game is, for fans at least, kind of the biggest one all year. Last year, you all didn't get the true experience of the rivalry because the fans weren't there. This year, the game gets postponed, maybe canceled. Are you feel robbed at all, I guess, from not getting that experience yet as a Kentucky player?
Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, like when, you know, UK plays Louisville, the fans, the game, the intensity of, you know, is off the chain. But I feel like that we rescheduled with a great opponent. Obviously, somebody that just beat Louisville, so I feel like the game is still going to be as good. I'm not sure if the fans are as happy that we're playing them, but I feel like that we're playing a really good team, and I'm happy, you know, with what we're doing and, you know, what Western Kentucky is going through. I feel like this is a huge game, and it's kind of bigger than basketball that we're, you know, able to match up with them.
John Clay, you got next.
Lance, what did the North Carolina game, especially just the way you guys played in that game, do for your confidence level going forward?
I feel like as a team, we just got to see like when everybody's clicking and, you know, what we're capable of, and when we fly and pass the ball and the ball pops around and guys are making shots, of how dangerous we really can be. I feel like that game is huge, and I feel like a game like Notre Dame is also huge as well, because it kind of reset us and then put us in this different mindset to keep going forward, that like this is how we're supposed to play.
Jerry, I'm not sure if you raised your hand again or I didn't lower it. You got a question?
Well, I was just getting ready to, Eric, so thank you. I'm wondering, Lance, Coach said you guys all got the booster shots, and I'm wondering, you know, is there some apprehension about there's all these variants out there of what, and games canceled and so on? How unsettling is all that?
Yeah, I mean, everybody got the booster shot, and I feel like the main reason why we got the booster shot is just because if we want to have an opportunity to play, we want to be able to play. You know, we don't want, you know, COVID or new variants to be able to stop us from playing. So if us getting the booster shot is, you know, the most effective way to keep us on schedule and keep us on track to play games, then I feel like that's what we're going to do. Everybody wants to play. Nobody wants to have games canceled. And, you know, nobody wants a repeat of, you know, the last 2 years. So I feel like if this is what we have to do, get the booster shot, and, you know, even if we have to start, you know, having COVID protocols and stuff like that, as long as we get a chance to play, then that's what we care about.
I know last year, Coach said you guys kind of like stayed in your own rooms. I'm wondering if you're still mingling and playing pool or whatever, ping pong, or are you back in your rooms again?
No, we're still mingling, but like I said, if we need to be in our rooms to be able to, you know, play games and for safety precautions, then that's what we'll do. Like I said, everybody wants to play. Nobody wants to have any games canceled, so we'll kind of do whatever it takes to play.
Thanks.
John Hale, coming back to you.
Lance, you're the guy on the team who probably has the most experience going against Oscar every day. And what is it like? How do you describe the challenge of rebounding against him when you're matching up in practice? And how has that made you a better player?
I mean, you see how he rebounds, what he does in the game. Practices are really competitive, and just going against Oscar helps me in all types of ways. Obviously, he's super physical, super strong, rebounds really well. So honestly, I learned from him, and just being able to go after him every day, and stuff like that. Just, I mean, it's a blessing because you don't really get that too often. So I get a chance to go after it every day. So.
John Wong, you got next?
Lance, we've all seen how important a block shot can be in changing the momentum of a game. When you block a shot, you seem to want to make a statement. So, first of all, where do you see your role as maybe a rim protector for this team? And secondly, do you block Oscar's shots in practice?
I wouldn't say I block extra shots in practice. Like, I block a few shots, but not like I do in the game. I don't know. But just my role on the team is just, to provide whenever I get in the game, to just do the right stuff and, provide energy and rebounding, whether that be Oscar's, out of the game with foul trouble or what. Just kind of go in and do my role and just do it well. So.
John Clay, coming back to you.
How important is Severe, especially the way he played on Saturday, just to getting everybody involved and energized and playing fast in the way you guys want to play?
I mean, he's a huge part of this team. He's a point guard. He's a leader. When he talks, everybody listens in huddles, locker room, stuff like that. He plays a huge role in this team. Just also getting everybody going. When you have a guy that can pass the ball like that, people want to play with him. So you're going to run harder. You're going to, do all the things you can do to get open. Just always have to be ready when you're on the court with him, because you don't never know when the ball is going to be coming at you full speed. And, just being him, when he scores like that, and, obviously at 28, 29 points, 30 points, that just adds to his game.
Any other questions for Lance? John, looks like you have another one. Go ahead.
And Lance, is your ankle okay? Is that 100% now? Any lingering health issues associated with that?
No, my ankle's fine.
Thank you.
Last call. All right. Well, thank Lance.